stereotype this guy. Stoic Queretano. Look at him. Mestizo, mojado. He's illegal. Look at him. Builder, foodie. Come on, ladies. Admit you're jealous of his Ivy League educated American wife. O Pangea, O great Paleozoic trip, ancient pale boat people floated Gondwana north and west for days, penetrating equator, banged for millennia against Tropic of Cancer, pumped and churned for eons through cold northern seas, and then, millennia later, the nation state is born and pale boat people draw lines around the globe, their own lines and lines on other people's maps. They create laws, wrapped in religion, that bar the great intermingling of seed that propels humanity forward. There is no immigration debate. Labor shortages, NAFTA, legal, illegal are all abstractions. We cross borders for bread, for love, for adventure. We come here and fall in love again with America, with Americans. There is no border. Kings, mayors, oligarchs see borders. Human beings must cross borders to seek fame, fortune, companionship. Boise, Arkansas, Mexico, Estonia, Djibouti, Brazil, Taiwan. Freedom lies between Tel Aviv and Damascus. Tell me, Igniteboise, how many borders have you crossed? Seeking fame, fortune, topless beaches? Political abstraction aside, love of the traveler, both platonic and romantic, has carried American society forward for 4 centuries. Chapter 1, 1610. Powhatan Princess Pocahontas forges first known binational love affair on the continent with scurvy-laden, tobacco-pushing British pirates. It did not end well for her people, but even Disney recognized that Pocahontas saw a better way of integrating new immigrants. Chapter 2, sex between enslaved Africans and whites rampant across the American states. Though the result of criminally insane power dynamics, the sex is not always bad. Jacobs, a first-generation enslaved American, attained her freedom through a white lover and went on to tell the whole juicy story. Chapter 3, Ricky, Ricky, you're so fine, you blow my mind, hey Ricky. Desi Arnaz and his father granted political asylum in the U.S. in 1934, fleeing the Batista regime in Cuba. Ricky declares his love for Lucy on national TV. Chapter 4, the heady days of civil rights leads Congress to end racial quotas in immigration. Then, courts strike bans on interracial coupling, and the game is on. Though illegal immigration is on the rise, it has not infected politics or the media. Reagan grants amnesty to 2.7 million. Mi tío Jaime, un Boliviano, graduates from Johns Hopkins in the 70s. Though white, a gainfully employed engineer, and a Republican, the only way he manages to stay here is to marry my aunt, who was apparently pissed off about the whole thing. Before the mid-90s Republican revolution in Congress, relatives of U.S. citizens had options for staying in the U.S. In 1994, Congress set up harsh new penalties for illegal entry. Tens of thousands took advantage of 245I, a short-lived loophole, and then, September 11, 2001, 19 legal visitors to the U.S. crashed planes into buildings on the eve of a vote to extend 245I. The vote is canceled, family unification gives way to life in exile and divided families, and immigration becomes the polarizing metaphor of the decade. Today, there are millions of mixed immigration status families in the U.S., American citizens living in the shadows for fear of their partners being deported. And there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of Americans, like my friends who married the man in the first slide, living abroad. But at least a spousal visa exists for heterosexual couples. For binational same-sex couples in the U.S., now estimated at 24,000, there is no path to citizenship. U.S. immigration law does not recognize these couples. There is one form of relief for some lucky undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens if they can prove a vaguely defined severe hardship, self-deport to Ciudad Juarez, the murder capital of the world today, and the closest forest consulate, and stomach long waiting periods. More political relief comes in bills like this one. Has anyone heard of it? It was introduced last month to zero fanfare as congressmen and women raced home to prove to us that they, in fact, have bigger hard-ons for illegals than anyone else, and not in a good way. In the meantime, Americans, like Veronica, are not free to marry and stay with whomever they like. Juan is back home in Mexico, waiting out at least a 10-year ban from the nation that his wife and kids call home. Veronica can't afford to visit and has no prospects in rural Mexico. This reality is creeping into popular culture with dozens of blogs like The Deportee's Wife, Corin in Exile, and Bring Pedro Home, books like Elizabeth Gilbert's Committed, TV shows like Weeds, and songs like Coyote Song and Igniteboise. You may disagree with my open border premise and my theories on border crossing, but you're going to have a hard time arguing that American citizens need to just take a cold shower and get over their love affairs because of a lack of papers. A hard-on, mis amigos, is a terrible thing to waste.
Hardons.